Imagine a world where just 6 men, one after another, built and ruled an empire of over 100 million people. This isn't a fantasy novel. It's the incredible true story of the Mughal Empire in India. For 2 centuries, these 6 great Mughals from Babur to Aurangzeb shaped the destiny of a subcontinent, leaving behind a legacy of breathtaking art, architecture, and a complex history that still fascinates us today. How did they do it? How did a small band of warriors from Central Asia manage to conquer and govern one of the most populous regions on Earth? Let's dive into the story of the 6 men who ruled 100 million. Our story begins with a prince who lost everything. His name was Babur. Descended from both Timur the Lame and Genghis Khan, he had a formidable lineage. But at just 12 years old, he inherited a small kingdom in modern-day Uzbekistan, only to be driven out by his rivals. For years, he was a wanderer, a king without a kingdom. But Babur was resilient. He looked south, towards the vast, wealthy land of Hindustan. In 1526, with a small but disciplined army, he faced the massive forces of the Sultan of Delhi. At the Battle of Paniput, Babur had a secret weapon, gunpowder. His cannons and matchlock muskets terrified the Sultan's war elephants and shattered his army. With this single decisive victory, Babur laid the foundation of the Mughal Empire. He was more than just a conqueror. His memoirs, the Baburnama, reveal a man who was also a poet, a naturalist, and a lover of gardens, a trait that would become a signature of his dynasty. Babur's reign was short. When he died, the new empire fell to his son, Humayun. And let's be honest, Humayun had a rough start. He was described as kind and intelligent, but also indecisive. And some say, plagued by an opium addiction. He quickly lost the empire his father had fought so hard to win. Forced into exile in Persia by a brilliant Afghan general named Shah Suri. For 15 long years, Humayun was a king in name only. But like his father, he was persistent. With Persian help, he fought his way back, reconquering Delhi in 1555. Tragically, just a year later, his victory was cut short. Rushing down the stairs of his library with his arms full of books, he tripped on his robes, fell, and died. It was a bizarre end for a man who spent his life fighting to reclaim his throne. The empire was once again on a knife's edge, left in the hands of his 13-year-old son. That son was Akbar, and he would become the true architect of the Mughal Empire, earning the title Akbar the Great. Taking the throne as a teenager, Akbar proved to be a military genius. Through relentless campaigns, he expanded the empire, conquering vast territories and bringing most of the Indian subcontinent under his control. But Akbar's true greatness wasn't just in conquest. It was in governance. He realized that to rule a diverse land like India, you couldn't rely on force alone. He implemented a policy of religious tolerance that was revolutionary for its time. He married a Hindu princess, Jadabai, and brought Hindu nobles into the highest ranks of his administration. He even abolished the jizya, a tax on non-Muslims. Akbar was deeply curious about spirituality. He built a house of worship where scholars from Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and Zoroastrianism would gather to debate theology. He even tried to create his own syncretic faith, the Din-i-Ilahi, blending elements from different religions. Under his 50-year reign, the empire wasn't just bigger. It was more stable, prosperous, and united than ever before. Next came Jahangir, Akbar's son. Jahangir inherited a golden age. The empire was secure, and the treasury was full. This allowed him to indulge his passions, art, nature, and luxury. Jahangir was a connoisseur of the highest order. Mughal painting reached its zenith under his patronage, with artists creating incredibly detailed and realistic portraits and nature scenes. He was obsessed with observing and documenting the world around him, much like his great-grandfather Babur. But Jahangir's reign was also marked by a significant shift in power. He was deeply in love with his wife, Nur Jahan. She was intelligent, ambitious, and politically savvy. As Jahangir's health declined and his reliance on wine and opium grew, Nur Jahan became the de facto ruler of the empire. Her face appeared on coins, and her seal was required on official documents. She was one of the most powerful women in Indian history, a formidable empress who governed the vast Mughal state from behind the curtain. The son of Jahangir and the successor to the throne was Shah Jahan, a name that means king of the world, and he certainly lived up to it. His reign is remembered as the absolute peak of Mughal architectural splendor. Shah Jahan was a builder on an epic scale. He commissioned the stunning Red Fort in Delhi, the magnificent Jama Masjid, and of course, the most famous monument of them all, the Taj Mahal, built as a mausoleum for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, who died during childbirth. The Taj Mahal is the ultimate symbol of love and a testament to the incredible wealth and artistry of his era. But this golden age came at a cost. Shah Jahan's extravagant building projects and military campaigns drained the imperial treasury. The empire was beginning to show signs of strain. His reign ended not in glory, but in tragedy. In his later years, a brutal war of succession broke out among his 4 sons. He was ultimately deposed and imprisoned in the Agra fort by the victor, his own son, Aurangzeb. For the last 8 years of his life, Shah Jahan could only gaze from his window at the Taj Mahal. The tomb of the wife he could no longer visit. The last of the 6 great Mughals was Aurangzeb. He was a stark contrast to his predecessors. Where Akbar was tolerant, Aurangzeb was a devout and orthodox Muslim. Where Shah Jahan was a builder of monuments to love, Aurangzeb was a relentless military commander. He ruled for nearly 50 years, the same length as Akbar, and under him the Mughal Empire reached its greatest territorial extent. He pushed the borders south, conquering the Deccan sultanates in a series of long, grueling wars. But his methods created deep divisions. He reimposed the jizya tax on non-Muslims and destroyed several prominent Hindu temples. His religious policies alienated large segments of the population, particularly the Rajputs who had been loyal allies, and sparked rebellions from the Marathas, Sikhs, and Jats. While he was a brilliant military strategist and a disciplined administrator, his uncompromising rule sowed the seeds of the empire's decline. By the time of his death in 1707, the empire was overstretched, financially exhausted, and torn by internal conflict. The age of the great Mughals was over. So, how did they do it? How did just 6 men manage this monumental feat? It was a combination of factors. First, military innovation. Babur's use of gunpowder gave them the initial decisive edge. Second, a sophisticated administrative system perfected by Akbar that allowed them to effectively tax and govern a vast and diverse population. Third, and perhaps most importantly, was their strategy of assimilation and patronage. By marrying into local royal families, promoting non-Muslims to high office, and becoming patrons of indigenous art and culture, the Mughals, at least until Aurangzeb, transformed themselves from foreign conquerors into Indian rulers. They created a unique Indo-Persian culture that blended different traditions to create something new and spectacular. The legacy of these 6 men is everywhere in India today. It's in the magnificent forts and tombs that dot the landscape. It's in the food, the language, and the art. The story of the great Mughals is a story of ambition, innovation, love, betrayal, and the incredible complexity of building an empire. It shows how the vision and personality of a handful of individuals can shape the history of millions. From Babur's desperate gamble to Aurangzeb's final, exhausting conquests, it's a saga that continues to captivate the world. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the Mughal Empire fascinating, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next historical deep dive. See you next time.